Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Saturn is about to make a pretty big move as he ingresses into Aries and closes out his residency in Pisces. It's a big move. There's a bit of foreshadowing going on. And in view of this, not only am I sat on the floor trying to ground in this energy, of course there's been many shifts taking place, as many of you out there would have felt as well, but I thought I would reshare a clip from a previous astrology report that I put out on YouTube at the end of November 2025. Yes, just over 2 months ago, I put out a video relating to Saturn stationing direct in Pisces at the time. And there was an additional piece where I focused on the chart for this upcoming ingress into Aries. So I was already saying back then what we could expect in terms of this ingress. And I just felt it was key to reshare it because there may be some people that didn't see that and they'll get a chance to, or those of you that want to rewatch it just to understand more about what I've said in the chart. Of course, this is for you. And I'll share the link in the description box to the full video in case you want to go back and recap over all of the aspects I spoke about. But the extract that's coming up now is just the piece where I was talking about Saturn's ingress into Aries. At that time, of course, when I recorded it, we had 2.5 month roughly window of his time closing out in Pisces and then moving up to this. But we're here. We're here. I'm recording this on February the 13th. For some people in the world, Saturn is going to ingress into Aries on the 13th. For us in the UK, on GMT, it's just into the 14th of Feb, 12 minutes past midnight, or 11 minutes 40 seconds past midnight to be precise. And of course, you'll see the chart with the timings. Apply your own time zones as appropriate. But personally, for me, as a Pisces, happy Valentine's Day to me and my fellow Pisceans out there. So I hope you enjoy the video. I'll catch you in a bit. To the next chart. Okay, so that's when Saturn stations direct in Pisces, and then, as I say, we've got 2.5 months approximately until he ingresses into Aries. So this is going to happen, and I've made a joke about this before, that for the UK on GMT it's only just, but it's the 14th of Feb. Happy Valentine's Day to us, fellow Pisceans out there. Yeah, he's going to ingress out of Pisces into Aries on Valentine's Day. Let's let off the party poppers. But as I say, we're not immune to this movement into Aries, okay? It's just, you know, the period of time since the 7th of March 2023, with the exception of that period of time that he did spend in Aries as a bit of a taster, but 3 years, you know, in a sign, testing spiritual integrity and the soul's truth, has been quite an intense period. And I'm sure many of you will also resonate with that. So 14th of February, it is a Valentine's gift, where he moves into Aries, okay? And of course, for other people in the world, it's going to be the 13th of February. So apply your own time zones. Okay. So it's actually like 12 minutes past midnight, but I've put there, you know, the seconds as well to be absolutely transparent with the moment that he does ingress at 0 degrees, 0 minutes of Aries. And you can see there that conjunction with Neptune, because Neptune would have already arrived and he's getting things ready for Saturn. So this is, again, moving from Pisces into Aries when we think of Saturn, okay, and Neptune to some extent. But Pisces to Aries is not just moving from sign to sign. It is, of course, there's an aspect of that. But Pisces represents the end of an astrological year. So even though we're not quite there yet, when this chart comes up, we'll be in Aquarius season. Okay, so we've not even hit Pisces season at this point. But what I'm saying is the energy of Pisces in terms of the end of an astrological year is a major ending. Okay, it's closing out a major ending to move forward into a brand new beginning. Aries is the start of the zodiac. Okay, so it is a significant move and it's a significant power move. And if we can align with that energy and we've closed out these lessons that have tested our spiritual integrity and we're in alignment with our soul's truth, and then we move forward empowered with that Aries cardinal energy and that drive to go after what we want, that is extremely powerful. Okay, It's another ending beginning, okay? And recognize that this energy is here to support us. A few things to note in the chart. So we have got a sextile to Uranus, who will also be direct at this point in Taurus, okay? So it's still very much promoting and supporting the change that we're wanting to experience in our physical reality. There is a semi-square that is going to Mars and Vesta. So these two are close together in Aquarius now. What I found interesting was in the last chart, if you remember, Mars and Lilith were conjunct at 17 degrees of Sag. And then we had Juno close by at 18. But you can actually see Juno, because of the movement, is there in Capricorn at 16. So it's like 16, 17, whereas we had 17, 18. That's, I don't know, those numbers might mean something to someone. I just found that very interesting, even though it's different signs, of course, but it was something that came to me. Okay, so those numbers might be significant for some people. But Mars, you know, is still wanting to take action. Now, with the Aquarius energy, there is something about this technological age we are moving into, we're already in, but we're moving into, okay, and how that's supporting us. So taking action that is utilizing the tools that we have to hand, okay, but utilizing them not as a replacement, and using discernment always, okay, because it's very new. But this is about embracing the new reality and how that can support us. But not only that, from a humanitarian perspective, because Aquarius rules the 11th house, and that is, you know, collective, it's community with others, connections with others, and so on. So there can be a humanitarian aspect now to the action that we're wanting to take. It's like a bigger picture. So we've understood our soul's truth, and now we hit that Saturn at 0 degrees Aries. And it's like an awakening with Neptune there as well, to perhaps how what we're doing could impact people on a wider scale. Okay, and that might only resonate with some as light workers in the collective, but having a deeper purpose generally to what we're doing, because we've understood our soul's truth. And with Vesta close by, so they're conjunct, not exact 1 degree orb, of course, but that is about the sacred flame. So we've understood potentially from those Saturnian lessons in Pisces what sparks that flame within us, within our soul particularly, and, you know, what inspires us to go towards what we want. So the fact that they're close together is great, because we've got like action, but it's based on the sacred flame. So we've kind of understood the memo. And with the sun in Aquarius, because we will be in Aquarius season at that point, we're supported on a soul level by what we're trying to achieve. Okay, but this semi-square is just saying, okay, it could just still be minor challenge in the energy where, you know, we're still trying to awaken to certain things, or things are still trying to come through to make an appearance, to be real for us, okay, to come into that reality for us, so that we understand the action that we are aligned with, okay, in terms of our new reality. The moon will be in Capricorn at this point. Detrimental position for the moon, because it's the opposite sign to that which it rules, Cancer, of course. But this is about taking emotion out of it, remember, which is what Saturn likes. So even though the moon is in Capricorn, it can feel quite harsh. It feels almost like it's a bit of this is a signal point to be like, right, this is go time. I have learnt my lessons whilst Saturn was in Pisces, and Saturn rules Capricorn. Okay, so he's going to love the fact that we just take emotion out of it and say, right, this is what we got to do. This is the path forward. This is what we need to do. So there's drive, there's determination, and there is focus based on what we've learned. And remember, this is just aligning with the energy if we wish to align with it, because we've got free will. Okay, we don't have to align with anything. This is about free will comes into play. But if it's something that you're wanting to move forward in terms of your life, your reality, this is a power move, okay, because this is about the cardinal energy of Aries supporting Saturn. If we've closed out those cycles not serving us, and then we can have focus in our emotional home, plus on a soul level, have that bigger perspective picture of the fact that, you know, what we're doing has a greater impact because it's more aligned with our soul, it's more aligned with our sacred flame. That is going to be very powerful for us. Now, also, there is a trine, harmonious aspect to Lilith. And Lilith is at 29 degrees in retrograde of Scorpio. So shadow aspects, okay, this feels like, because 29 is at the end and Saturn and Neptune are both at 0, the start, this is like we have closed out a massive cycle of shadows here. Okay, shadow work. It's not to say that it's over completely, because things come up on our journey. We are always evolving. But this is about closing out a major cycle where we've had to be honest and real with shadow aspects. And Saturn has helped us with that. Neptune has helped us with that. So this is that appreciation within the energy here, that there is a trying to say, right, we can close things out now because we've understood, we've got the memo. Lilith is in a challenging square to the midheaven of the chart, Leo, and also the Sun. So there does need to be some courage to pursue soul aspirations here. Okay, to not get drawn back into the shadow aspects or to start suppressing things down again. This is about powering forward with the belief on a soul aspirational level, with the courage to see it through and to show up inspired by your own authentic self. Okay, that also enables the closeout of the shadow aspects, or at least working towards that, but with an empowered vision of that. Okay, there is a sesqui square to Poseidon, who is also retrograde in Scorpio. But although I've not marked it up on here, Poseidon is in a grand trine with Jupiter and also Mercury in Pisces. That's very ethereal communication. That is intuitive communication, maybe even telepathic communication on some level. But this is about understanding that, yeah, okay, there might still be some challenges with what we've had to understand that's come up from the depths of the metaphorical ocean, you know, what's been churned up. But because of that trine and the openness and the inner growth and the fact that it's supporting that ethereal communication, so connecting more with our intuition, it's enabled us to do that. It feels like we are now in charge, if we allow ourselves to be, of churning the ocean up for ourselves. So as and when we come across certain things that we know don't align with our spiritual truth, we can churn the ocean up, we can allow it to come up, see it for what it is, process it, deal with it, move on, because our intuition is getting stronger at this point as we are aligning more with that source connection within. That's what that feels like. Okay, so we turn that slight minor challenge into a positive. Okay, the other interesting thing here is when I looked at this, I thought, wow, there is nothing making an aspect to Pluto, and Pluto is a massive force and has been. Certainly, you know, when he was towards the end of Capricorn, but then moving into Aquarius. And do you know what this feels like? Because this is not saying there's no transformation going on, because believe me, there is transformation going on, and it's profound. It's not surface level. This is Pluto. This is going deep. Soul rebirth energy. But at this particular point, because remember, it's a freeze frame of the cosmos at the time that Saturn stations 0 degrees of Aries, ingresses, okay, into Aries at 0 degrees. This is about learning those lessons, and Pluto sitting back for that moment and taking a breath and almost saying, they've got this. And I know that sounds cheesy, me saying it, but it is like a bit of a step back, because you've got this, like, you know what you're doing. Saturn in Aries, that empowerment, it's almost like, it feels like flying solo. It's kind of like, you can do this, you've got this. It just really feels powerful like that. And it's to do with this profound soul rebirth. So of course there's going to be aspects, you know, the planets, the planetary bodies, the luminaries, they move. So there's going to be aspects made to Pluto. Okay, this is not the be all and end all, but at this particular moment, it just feels like, you know, Saturn closing out his time in Pisces, learning those lessons is a time for Pluto to just breathe and be like, yeah, you got this. You know what you're doing. You know the direction you're heading towards. Okay, we might need a reminder of that every now and then, but you've got this. And that I felt was extremely positive when I saw it. Okay, because it is about us up-leveling into this new reality that we're moving into. Very, very powerful. Okay, and the lunar nodes, you know, there's still going to be North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo up till, you know, July 2026 when they're going to change. So we've still got that path forward in terms of trusting intuition and detaching from cycles of the past that are no longer serving us, where we've had these kind of outdated perspectives or perceptions or even expectations of how things should be, how they should look. It's about using the Virgo energy of the planning and, you know, getting things in order as a springboard more towards the Pisces element of, you know, flow and surrender, because we've got that as a springboard, but not having expectations of how things should be. It's more about trusting, because we've got that connection with our intuition, to trust our intuition. That's the source energy within us. Okay, and building that up over time throughout this period, and certainly what Saturn has been teaching us, if we've taken on board those lessons, it's enhanced our intuitive capabilities. So it feels particularly powerful. Okay, so I'll stop sharing there.